Esther 3:13. These letters were sent by couriers into all the king's provinces to wipe out, to slay, and destroy the Jews, both young and old, infants, in one day, even upon the 13th day in the 12th month, which the month of Adar, to take spoil of the plunder. So there was a plan to kill the Jewish race, to wipe out. The world may take plans and have their own plans, but ultimately God's plan is what happens. Ultimately, it's God's will that's carried out, regardless of what we think. So, we should just, as Christians, live by that. Okay. Daniel 6, 6 through 9. Daniel 6, 6 through 9. These administrators and satraps before went as a group to the king and said, "Live forever, O King Darius." So they're boasting him up. They're trying to get him roused up, him feel good about himself, sucking up to him so they can get their way. This is oftentimes a manipulation of the world. Suck up to people, and they're more typical. This is not how God works. God humbles people to have them do what they should have been doing the whole time. The administration of the kingdom, the prefects, satraps, counselors, and governors are all agreed that the king should issue and enforce a decree that anyone who prays and makes petition to any god or man within 30 days, except you, O king, should be thrown in a lion's den. So this plan was simply because they weren't praying to anybody. They weren't showing glory to anybody but the king. Daniel was showing glory to God, giving worship to God, praying to God. So this whole plan wasn't to make the king look good, as what it appeared, or give honor to the king. It was to trap Daniel. And there's people out there in the world who's going to try to make the church forced to do something that we're not going to do. And they're going to use the excuse, well, this. Yeah, it sounds good to others of the world, but it's only done so it hurts us. Their plot wasn't to make the king be worshipped, it was to get to Daniel. It's also important that being 30 days, it was not permanent, because once he sealed this, the guy who prayed to any other body but the king would be thrown in the den of lions, and the king couldn't do anything about it, according to Persian law. Verse 8. Now the king put the decree in writing, this was official, and have signed it at once, so it cannot be altered or annulled in accordance with Medo-Persian laws. So whoever broke this, whoever prayed to anybody but the king, would be thrown in the lion's den, regardless of who it was. If it was the king's own son praying to a god, lion's den, nothing he can do about it. King Darius put into writing and signed the prohibition, thus making it law, for 30 days. It's key that it's 30 days because it's not permanent, because the Persians would be the ones that allowed the Jews back into the promised land to rebuild the temple. If this was permanent, that would have never happened. It was never God's will for it to be permanent, but God's will to show that, you know what, you may be standing against me, you may be standing against my man Daniel, but there ain't nothing really you can do. I'm more powerful than them lions. I'm more powerful than your decree. And that's what he showed them. God still has power today over any decree man makes, regardless of it not seeming like he don't.